Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Monday Night Fight with me, your host Imperial Dana 2 versus 2 on Road to Kharkov. We shall be watching the Germans here, Limpnoodle and Knoddy, fighting for the comfortable recliner, going up against Boris and Anvarr, fighting for the Soviet Union. And the 15th Guards Mechanized Corps Special Rifle Command going up pretty early here, while we do see that Boris is pushing out with some infantry. Pioneers moving out, and we're noting a dual pioneer start here for Knoddy, who's also immediately gone for Jaeger armor. Again, it is more common to see in early doctrinal choices like this, but at the same time, I really have to question the validity of going Jaeger armor, in particular since it's, the notorious doctrine which pretty much most players actually barely utilize at all, except for the Elephant Tank Destroyer, and certainly for a novice is quite the mouthful, and certainly something they always fail at even remotely utilizing properly. I mean, if I really had to give some sort of, initial advice for any sort of German player, don't go Jaeger armor. I mean, they just fail to even make use of the Regal Mind spotting scopes. Every contest, there's so many things they could do, but never actually managed to do, and that's always so depressing to see. Pioneers getting spotted though by Conscript Squad. Grenadiers moving in there from Limpnoodle.
Ready.
Points being secured. Not rushing here for the cut-off point though. Interesting move here for Knoddy. He really should focus on that, because otherwise you actually don't get anything out of all of this over there. Pioneers should pull back. And Grenadiers should be moving up rather swiftly. Second squad of Grenadiers arriving for Knoddy. One Grenadier squad arriving, MG42 on the way. Connect the point there, come on, mach schnell. There we go, Grenadiers getting caught out in the open, pull back towards cover. Jolly good job there. For some reason he's charging in his combat engineers, which really makes no sense right there for Boris. An absolutely poor combat decision, particularly then proceed to stop them out there. So it looks like Boris is not quite sure what to do, and that's just poor unit preservation. And there we go, combat engineer squad wiped out. Grenadiers supporting Pioneers versus another combat engineer squad. Pioneers pushing on, at least he's finding out this part connected, and within the first 3 minutes he's setting a fuel catch. He's not even got it. Oh, he's got an MG4 jump, but even there I think this is too early. Also, it's too exposed. This would be a better choice. I suppose this might be an attempt at securing some sort of connecting point, but even then, I can't help that this early into the match, it is a bit of a poor choice when they would be better off with more frontline troops. Scout heading around and filled up with penal troops already. Of course, there's a slight problem with an Anvarr's playstyle currently, which of course it leaves most of the fighting to Boris here, but at the same time, it does offer him the chance of actually applying some serious punch if he wants to get around to it, and for some reason he's stuffing Pioneers into buildings as well. And there we go, Scout coverage from the edge straight into the enemy line of fire. MG42 supporting the Grenadiers here by the southern victory point. Scout continuing ahead. Nope. Oh, there we go, flamethrower up. Pioneers and MG42 need to consider getting the devil out of there, or at least getting some support from Grenadiers to Panzerfaust. Come on here, Knoddy. Mach schnell. Also setting up a few cars. Clearly the German players are intending to rush with some sort of armor, but even then this is an awful lot within the first few minutes. And I can't help but feel they're rather running after their own ideas, not considering what the hell the enemy's doing, which is always something you should try and keep in mind. But there you go, Panzerfaust out, MG42 vacating the premises, Scout car closer going down here, and there we go, down, kaput, but the Grenadiers do need to get out, and there you go, quick rifle grenade, killing Ivan.
It's ready to use.
Maxim pushing up there. And there you go, there are a few cash, but again, also noting the placement of it is absolutely rubbish. Not there, but there where it can easily be cut off. I mean, I can't help but feel that's another brilliant mistake going on here from the Germans. I mean, they're already there pouring 400 manpower each collectively into fuel catches without anything else, and this MG42 has clearly been forgotten here by Knoddy, which is not really good either. MG42 trying to hold up the Soviet advance in the south, but so far not much luck. Again, they need more troops out, but they've only got an MG and 2 Grenadiers. Come on, Limpnoodle. Don't be such a limp noodle. Time to pop over to him, in fact, and he's gone for combined operations. Let's see if he can actually make some use out of his doctrine. MG42 here clearly got cleared out. What a senseless waste. Another little novice mistake again, you know, unit preservation. Consider if they might actually survive an engagement about what you're about to throw them into. Grenadiers, they need to retreat. Not really an idea to rush against an MG4 maximum machine gun there out in the open. Even the rifle grenades. Need to retreat his grenadiers. MG4 getting outmaneuvered. Officer on the way, that's lovely, but the grenadiers here need to retreat. And there we go. And now going to help his teammate. Flanking up with the penal troops from nearby from the nearby road. Good job, good job. And going to burn away at some fascists. And already here aggressive taking again. I mean, clearly a plan due to all the fuel cash, but also anyone with a bit of issues. Again, since they can't get all the fuel due to most of it being on the other side of that connecting point, which so far Mr. Knoddy isn't doing much actually be able to hold. Pioneers rushed ahead, but they clearly can't hold this up either. Officer moving in, grenadiers need to be moved up. Come on. Move up the infantry, counter-attack in a proper fashion. Pioneers need to be retreated. Another scout car with penal troops in. It looks like Anvarr here is very, very fond of the penal troops. Grenadiers need to retreat. You don't want to be caught out in front of this. Commies actually be forgotten, and they're getting wiped out in the middle of the road. Not so good unit preservation from Anvarr due to the fact that he's trying to manage several rather wide fronts. Mortar up, officer forced to retreat here due to his intense fire from certain positions here from Boris. Another light machine gun up. And we're seeing a support armor corps going up for Knoddy. And he's also got a light mechanized company up, so they both rushed for the support armor corps. I mean, he's not even made use of this building, so why didn't you even build it? I mean, don't rush ahead and build buildings if you're not going to use them. I mean, that's just pointless and just a waste of resources, which could then have been utilized much, much better. I mean, already here there's clearly some disconnect in terms of strategy going on for the two, at least Knoddy here in terms of a German player. We're also seeing a support armor corps now going for Limpnoodle. But again, why go for this if he's then going to rush straight ahead for that? That's a lot of resources in a very short amount of time, and this MG42 set up way too close to the enemy, way too close to the enemy. Although we do see a nice use of the officers here, concentrated fire, that's something at least. The air squad here not holding up very well, again rather isolated. Mortar fire going in as well. Fire going on here, rifle grenade might be an idea. Troops here getting suppressed. No wild surprise there. More grenadiers arriving. No attempts to stay at Panzer grenadiers, which could have helped a bit more with some more solid firepower. Fuel cache here going to be wrecked.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Mortar continues to fire here at the fascist positions. So far, so good.
The sector has been cut
Not for the Germans, though, who just lost a squad to the mortars. Again, you know, the head-on assaults here really aren't well thought out here by Limpnoodle. I mean, you don't want to be bashing your head against a wall. You usually want to try and flank with something else, which clearly isn't really what's happening with Limpnoodle. He's trying the blunt force approach, which he's not even getting a mortar to help facilitate. I mean, if you really want to launch such an assault, he should have had a mortar at the very least. Instead, he ends up trying to grind his way through, and obviously the Soviets will win on that account due to simply larger numbers. And also having a larger variety of weapons to support his positions. Half-track out, so all of a sudden, I mean, he went for this, then he gets a half-track, then why would he even rush for that if he's then going to spend fuel on something lesser? I mean, Knoddy really seems absolutely disorganized. He's just getting things almost randomly. If I had to make some sort of comment on it. I mean, he just builds this, but oh no, I'll just build this. Oh well, I'll just get a half-track then. I mean, why did you even build the support armor corps then? I mean, there's no clear strategy going on from him. He's just doing things. Satchel charge up here. Need to retreat, retreat. Oh, too late. And there we go. Officer down. Grenadier squad also almost wiped out. And your Germans just been pushed back so far already. quite disheartening to see. And we've got a grenadier blob standing about here. I mean, don't blob up your infantry. Don't blob up. I mean, he could easily been pushed ahead, take more ground. He could have tried to flank his opponent. I mean, he could have gone from here and then moved towards here, cut off a lot of resources. I mean, Knoddy just seems to have a rather weak grasp on things at the moment. He's not even moving up his MG42. Oh, well, there we go, finally.
You need fire?
I can't help but feel this a bit off. We're actually seeing here that Boris is laying down some mines. That is good. That is good, unless you're the enemy. And we're actually also seeing... Oh, he's gone for shock rifle. Since we know he's got ambush up.
Taking Soviet fire!
So nice little idea there. Mortar went off. Well, grenade went off, more specifically. Mine, I mean... Ah, dear. More mines going up. So at least Boris is trying to build up a nice defense. Field gun up. We're also seeing conscripts and MG counter-attacking here. MG sending up on the flank, though. Nicely done there, nicely done there. Slightly more intelligent behaviour. Over to Anvarr, who's gone for armoured assault. Interesting, interesting. We're also seeing a T-34 has arrived, but we're also seeing he's incredibly low on units, which is actually going to make it very difficult for him to help his team out at the moment, although good usage of the T-34 might swing things around. But again, don't blob up. Don't blob up and use cover. I mean, this is just going to make it very easy for the T-34 to do a lot of damage. Half-tank here not really being utilised well either. And there we go, down. And there we go, Grenadiers forced to retreat. Caught in an absolutely rubbish position here by a single Soviet tank with another one on the way. Things are far from looking promising for the Germans at the moment. Rather seems like a bit of a mess on their end. And an Su-85 has arrived from Boris, so a mechanized armored company besides the tank battalion command. Sniper supporting the Soviet advance here. And there we go. Thanks to 1870, knows now that the Germans actually have managed to get a Panzer IV. In this case, Limpnoodle has secured himself the Panzerkampfwagen 4. Su-85 here really shouldn't rush ahead like this. That could actually end up with it being Panzer or outmaneuvered by, say, a Panzer IV. So that, on the other hand, is a bit of a bad idea. Large horde here moving up from Knoddy. Su-85 pulling back as the Panzer IV slowly advances. Boris has taken a nasty hit. And Knoddy, for some reason, now has an MG42 all the way over there as well. Grenadiers leading the assault, getting off some nice shots down the penal troops with their rifle grenades. Snipers nearby need to get, and there go flamethrower just pouring lethal death. Panzer IV rolling ahead, snipers caught out in the open. Machine guns pouring down, and there we go, snipers dead. Two slow to retreat. Grenadiers here, two clamped up again. Do not blob up. Absolutely, you know, vital advice here from the propaganda ministry. Don't blob up. You only make it easier for your opponent to kill you.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
Absolutely learn to order about your units a bit separately from each other. Space them out so they can't just be wiped out with a few shots or a bit of a flamethrower whiff. And this Grenadier should be retreated and reinforced. This Grenadier also should be. Also, don't expose the rear armor to your opponent's tanks. Also, I have no idea what Boris has got going here with the Su-85. Seems absolutely silly with the second one on the way. But we do see here veterans who won for the Panzerkampfwagen 4, giving it Blitzkrieg. Still need to retreat those Grenadiers. T-34 getting spotted, Panzer IV rolling ahead, taking a nasty hit there from the flank from the Su-85. Lots of Soviet infantry moving out, another T-34. And there you go, Su-85 going to try to hunt in the narrow streets, but at the same time it might be a chance here for the Panzer IV to outdo it. Oh, nice shot there on the front. Blitzkrieg, Blitzkrieg, Limpnoodle, Blitzkrieg. Just, there we go. Another Panzer IV, this time from Knoddy arriving. And looks like the Panzer IV narrowly escapes the jaws of doom there in the form of the Su-85. time to pop over there to Boris, who's actually 5 million counters a second Panzer IV. And we're also noting he's not making any use of the shock troops at all, which is actually quite curious. I would have imagined he would have got at least one squad of those to help punish the Germans. And there you go, Panzer IV running to prom with a second T-34 arriving out of nowhere. And then, oh, don't expose the rear. Pack arriving though. Order the pack to attack. Pack attack. Come on. Feuer frei. Still hanging about with all of the Grenadier forces here. Still not retreated that one depleted Grenadier. Close to Veteran 2, which could easily stand to be retreated and reinforced. In fact, he moves it on. The blob continues. Come on, Knoddy. Do you have a death wish for your men?
What do you need?
So it continues to sort of mill about. I mean, they're getting a bit more disorganized now, which is not really good either. And Boris is really making that one of those large and obvious mistakes, which is floating a lot of resources. You could easily go for some shock troopers now to really get the fascists a bit of hurting. Otherwise, some fuel caches might be an idea. And don't rush your Su-85 in like it's a tank. It's not. If you try to use it like a tank, it's going to get wiped out like it's not a tank. Maximum Contribute doing the worst to sort of ensure the Grenadiers from Limpnoodle can move up so far, which is good. T-34 for some reason still standing out there. Pack arriving and a Stug from Limpnoodle. Die Sturmgeschütz. Achtung. Fuel cache going up there. Grenadier blob advances again. Retreat that one man, Knoddy. Unit preservation. You're not in the Soviet army, Knoddy. In which case you're playing the wrong army if you think you are. Again, blobbing up also makes it easier for Molotovs to do a lot of nasty damage to you. I mean, this really should need spelling out. Stu leading the way up here. Nice hit there, wiping out 2 conscripts with one glorious shot from the Sturmkanone. Grenadiers here need to retreat, getting shot at by the base defences, which actually have quite the range on them. Incendiary barrage going in somewhere. Likely over here. 2 packs. Oh, why did you clump up your packs like that? Knoddy seriously needs to stop lobbing up everything he has. Nice maneuver here with the Blitzkrieg. Su-85 going to get outflanked. Field gun as well. Gutes Arbeit, Limpnoodle. Perhaps you're not as slim as you seem to be. Sorry about that. Awful joke. Really shouldn't have made it, but for some reason, my poor personality said it and actually made it. Anyways, Su-85 here in a bit of trouble. Su-85 is going to go down. Like the Bismarck, after having lost its means of moving forwards. Maxim Veteran 2 really should have been retreated out of that situation. Instead, a glorious shot from the Panzerkampfwagen 4 collapsed the house like a poorly laid out house of cards. And a Veteran 2 more to come on, Boris. Preserve your units. I mean, he's taking some insane losses all of a sudden here as Limpnoodle's Panzerkampfwagen 4 rolls ahead victoriously. Somewhat victoriously, anyways. Soviet losses have all of a sudden been rather high, although again the Germans are suffering quite a bit, in particular Knoddy, due to Knoddy rather not utilising the best tactics available. And for that matter, not strategy either. Though Limpnoodle is also a bit deficient in tactics, at least he makes use of some flanking, nor does he blow up. So, I mean, he's at least got something going for him. Another Panzer IV out here from Knoddy. Still no sign that he's actually utilising his doctrine or whatsoever. And a lot of fuel guns on the way now here, also looking close to perhaps getting the IS-2. Several fuel caches has now gone up to support the Soviet advance to provide more fuel for the Soviet war machine.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
Panzer IV might want to support the front line a bit better, instead of leaving these poor Grenadiers to their own fate at the hands of Soviet attackers. Grenadiers need to retreat. Come on, Achtung. And time for the mid-game analysis. Also time to pop over to Knoddy. Current situation, as I'm sure you can guess, is not exactly all beer and skills for the Germans. They have managed to push back the Soviets and actually managed to inflict some losses, but at the same time, losses in them have been high as well and a bit senseless again, particularly because Knoddy loves to blow up. That's something Knoddy needs to get over. I mean, it's really, something you shouldn't be doing at all. It's more, I suppose it's a bit like crawling, but, you can't go about crawling about forever. You need to get to walk. And that means actually learning to spread out your troops. It's not going to require an awful lot, but, you just click sort of close to each other. That's where you can actually advance in a more fanned out formation, something where they can still fight the same target, but where, a single shot of this and that can't just, cause huge losses. Also, make use of cover, which also seems to be a bit of a problem here for Knoddy. In that sense, Knoddy is rather tactically crude, doctrinally crude, because so far he's not really made use of his doctrine at all. Again, he's chosen one which is rather notorious, at least in my eyes, for not really being used very well by novices. And I would also suggest he, makes a bit better use of his tanks. He's rather, also handling a bit crudely, and perhaps in that case he might resort to something cheaper, like a Stuke, which he can then try and keep behind his infantry blob to support it. Limpnoodle does stand a better chance, handling things. He's at least got a veteran 2 Panzer IV, so there's definitely a chance there. They should probably crew those packs, set them up, and otherwise, try to push forwards. If they can spot the few casualties, their priority should be wiping them up pretty quickly. Overall, though, the Germans should just push, and Knoddy here should really pull things together, actually make use of his doctrine, perhaps lay down some Riegel mines or something like that. Just, do something rather than just blob up. For the Soviet players, I mean, Boris here is rather being a bit senseless at times with the losses. He also needs to work with this unit preservation. He also needs to learn how to figure out how to use an SUD5, which is not really good. At the current moment, he should probably just try and get out that IS-2. That might help with him a bit, in terms of just raw force to beat this fascist senseless. And now, on the other hand, is handling things a bit better, but at the same time, though, the sort of strategy he went for has rather left him very low in infantry, and that's also very susceptible to losses, which have happened because his unit preservation is a bit off at times, so he's very low in units, and they're constantly leading the entire effort, to go on his friend, there, Boris. So in that sense, and now he needs to build up a decent infantry force. He also needs to consider either getting an IS-2 or perhaps some T-3045s, just keep up efforts here, try to secure this area for himself and for the motherland. And try to flank the positions here of Knoddy, which should be relatively easy. And certainly an IS-2 would also be good with dealing with Knoddy's blobs. In fact, it would be very, very punishing for Knoddy. And of course, the Germans also need to get better focusing victory points. As you can note, there's a quite large disparity right here. And that's also something that needs to be looked at before the Germans might be lose from that. So, back to the match though. Back to the match. Officer here, very much exposed to the front line. Nothing to actually, support, fight with. Mortar going off there. And a mortar round. Officer forced to retreat, unsurprisingly. Panzer IV continues to fire away merrily. No idea why he decided to rise across this Panzer IV like that. Obviously didn't really work out as a guided damage in response. But there we go. Country squad wiped out. We also see that Stuka bombing strike is available. That could maybe be used to the advantage of the Germans if they coordinate it properly with each other. One perhaps spots a target, then calls in the Stuka bombing strike to wipe out some vital priority target. Pack 43 going up. I have to say the placement of it is not really good. It's only to be able to cover a fraction of the map. I mean, he's chosen the far edge here, so that's already a nice chunk of map he can't cover. It would have been better had it been around here or here. It would have been able to cover a much larger field of the map and thus had a much more dominating presence. And a Sturmovik strike going in, likely from Anvarr, who does have access to that. There we go. So in that sense, Limpnoodle really did not make the best out of the Pack 43. This joint operations doctrine. And there we go, just note again, blobbing up the Gunleers makes it awfully easy for the T-34 to do a lot of nasty damage. Gunleer squad here needs to retreat. Come on, Knoddy! Pack crew here taking nice losses from the Sturmovik as it flies across the treetops. like a vengeful Soviet angel. And there we go. Panzer IV finally arrives from Knoddy to engage the dreaded T-34, which is managed to gain Veteran 1 by killing 15 good Germans. And there we go. IS-2 arrives here for Boris, and one also arrives for Anvarr. So it looks like the Soviets getting ready to deploy their heavy armor.
That took some doing. T-34 destroyed.
But at the same time, Boris should not be sending up his IS-2 there. He should by now know that there is a PaK-43, and the IS-2 is going to have a really, really bad day if it's going to continue up that road. And there we go, in fact, that's what's happening. The PaK-43, with one of the most powerful guns in the war, going to have a rather easy time here with the IS-2. Again, it's the exact same gun as the Elephant, as the Jagdpanther, as the King Tiger. And there we go, IS-2 down. Do not underestimate the PaK-43. And now looks like Limpnoodle is also plopping up. Ach du lieber, this is not good. And we're already seeing the response to deal with the blob. Unsurprisingly, Stuka bombing strike going in. Panzer IV for some reason being left to be flanked by the IS-2. And clearing out the PaK here, or the field gun here, with one Stuka bombing strike. Interesting move. Blitzkrieging Panzer IV, at least Limpnoodle in that sense keeps up Blitzkrieging, which is something. However minor, but we also see that heavy losses have been suffered. I mean, he just lost a lot of his infantry in the assault. I mean, it's not really looking good with those losses both German players are suffering. And note, this IS-2 didn't even suffer any damage at all, or at least minor damage from the Panzer IV, and is already ready to move on to blow up the next pair of Fritzes. With an Ostwind now arriving here for Limpnoodle. And the Grenadiers should get the devil out of there. As one should certainly also not underestimate that 50 caliber mounted on top. And again, don't plop up, don't plop up! Nine! Not really German tactics at all, that. And we go, Grenadier squad almost wiped out. The wrath of the IS-2 proving terrible. And looks like we're going to see Limpnoodle launching a desperate assault, streaking in. Going to attack with his Panzerkampfwagen here, Ausführung H. Going to see if we can't deal with that Soviet menace. It looks like he's realising it's not going to go very well and pulls back rather swiftly before it's too late. Ostwind on a rampage, firing into the German positions here, unleashing high explosive death. Over to Limpnoodle, who's barely got any units left again. He's suffering a lot. His PaK-43 is quite exposed. Need to deal with the PaK, or the field gun crew here. And of course all the troops repairing, and there we go, just so many comedies going down. Not really well there by Boris. Another Panzer IV arrives, this time though from Knoddy, but that's going to have a very short-lived affair with the world and breathing. Well, it looks like it might actually escape the wrath of the Josef Stalin II tank. And there we go, a Molotov on the PaK-43. And there we go, the crew is now toast. Another Panzer IV on the way. Tank getting repaired, and more infantry again is desperately needed for Limpnoodle. The losses have been rather insensible, to be honest. So far, the only thing that's actually been holding together here for Limpnoodle is his Panzer IV. A nice use there of the vehicle crew self-repair ability there by Anvarr. And, oh,
Of our panzers
good
has
lord.
been destroyed.
The Sturmovik actually managed to get the Ostwind. That's certainly a bit of a rarity. Though I suppose it didn't help, he didn't actually try to sort of stop up and deal with it. He actually tried to run, and the Ostwind can't really deal with an enemy aircraft on the move, it would seem. So a bit of a poor handling there by Limpnoodle. Although in the end, it did get the Sturmovik. In the end, he also lost the Flak Panzer. That's not really a good loss. Or perhaps the Panzer IV got it instead.
Our lines of supply are disrupted.
So still continue to move and continue to take victory point. Very focused on that, which is good.
Our turret has been installed. We are losing a sector.
How can we help?
Packs have still not been recruited. The Pack 43 of them might be, but there's nothing to cover it. Would be a nice idea with an MG42 to achieve such means. And why the Panzer Force isn't nearby to support that is also a bit of a mystery. Another full-on assault there. Molotovs and other goodies going in. Panzer Force attacking from the north though. Breaking through the tide of communists. Interesting enough, they don't seem to actually be trying to recruit the Pack 43 and turn it against the fascists. That's a bit of an odd move. They could easily be doing something with that. Instead they're trying to recruit the packs and actually getting slaughtered here. It's an absolute massacre for Soviet infantry. A really poorly thought out assault, it would seem. Oh no! They're just getting slaughtered and murdered. Another Panzer IV arriving. Another IS-2 arriving for Anvarr. Quite a bit of Soviet heavy armor on the field. Conscripts continue to take some rather exhausting losses, but overall things not looking up for the Germans. Victory points continue to tick down at an increasingly disturbing rate.
We have new units.
The IS-2s continue.
We are down to 75 points.
With one close mention one, and there we go, opening up the Grenadiers who are awfully close to each other, making it easier for the IS-2 to deal with them all. Come on, Knoddy, don't make it any easier for your opponent. Panzer IV rolling in, and right in front of them, trying to blitzkrieg, but it's not really well succeeded there. And there we go, Veteran 2-1. Another Panzer IV arriving, third Panzer IV firing in there. Awful lot of Panzer fire going in on the IS-2s. From as many angles as possible. Pack 43 has been recruited, but it's not being turned against them. And the Germans are not making any attempt at the victory points. They're not making any attempts. They're not sending any here or here or here. Come on, Germans. Mach schnell. Ach, du lieber. And another IS-2 arrives now for Boris. And the units are just standing about doing nothing. Come on, move. Over here to Anvarr, who's barely got anything left at all. The Soviets have been depleted themselves. On the other hand, if they can keep the Germans a bit occupied more, they could win this through sheer victory points. Veterans defeat here for this Panzer IV. Veterans defeat, increasing the damage. Another Panzer IV down. And there we go, target weak point. He actually used target weak point. Good lord. Perhaps Knoddy has some promise after all.
The people anticipate our victory. The enemy has 10 points remaining.
And there we go, IS-2 down, but abandoned. But still, points need to be taken, point needs to be secured, points need to be held. But it's too late, they were too slow.
The sector is at risk.
Much too slow, partly because it also again seems like Knoddy insists on blobbing up. So let's just speed this up, and there we go, game over. A tragic loss for Deutschland. And a bit of a silly one too. I mean, the flaws were rather manifold again, you know, poor doctrinal choice by Knoddy, not so great doctrinal usage by Limpnoodle, poor unit preservation, a bit of poor tactics, in particular on Knoddy because he kept blobbing up. I mean, Knoddy really was, you know, the black sheep of this match. There's definitely a lot of things he needs to work on. Although again, I mean, the fact he can actually use target weak point does indicate that there might be some promise. But again, stop blobbing up, stop floating resources, spread out, have a clear idea what you're doing, because half the time it really felt like Knoddy didn't. I mean, again, he rushed for the support armor core, yet at the same time built a like to mechanized company. No real cohesion there, which is quite the shame. Limpnoodle suffered a bit from the same things, and also again I think the fuel caches were much too early up in the match. That's another story. But again, Limpnoodle also had a tendency of making some rather poor decisions when it came to attack. I mean, he did understand sometimes of flanking when attacking, but ultimately he also had a nasty tendency of just trying to, grind his way through things, which is not really where the Germans succeed. So in that sense, I mean, he could have done a lot better as well. And that was definitely also a problem for the Soviets. There were a bit of problems again, unit preservation, but at the same time they did have a clearer strategy. They had a clear idea of what was going on. Even when they made mistakes, I mean, they were clearly both intending to get IS-2s. There were plans of that. They actually made a bit better use of the armor. Although again, Boris needs to stop using his Su-85s as tanks. They're not. Keep them at range. I repeat, keep them at range. They have that long range for a reason. It's not just there to look nice. Anvarr, needs to sort of supplement his forces earlier with a bit more infantry. He was rather leaving himself and his teammate in an awkward position. That is something you very much have to be careful with. But clearly the Serb players were the better ones in this match, although it was damn close. And again, they did need to work on unit preservation as well. In some cases, rather putting themselves in some very silly situations, were not retreating in time, thus ending up losing an awful lot of troops for no good reason. So, there were problems there as well. But I hope you learned an awful lot from this match. Also, the only redeeming thing here for Limpnoodle again was his Panzer IV, so well done there. But hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned a thing or two or three. I hope you learned a lot more than that, though. If you did, why not subscribe to your friends? If you didn't, well, why not leave replay of your own, provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane, saying cheers.